In most MMORPG type games, weapons and gear feature a RNG algorithm that can generate all kinds of different values to determine their effectiveness. Because of Destiny doubling as a player versus player environment, a balancing system for weapons to keep themselves at a competitive level had to be implemented. Thus, the weapon archetypes were born. Because Bungie wanted a balanced experience between players, weapons were broken up into different categories separated primarily by a set amount of rate of fire and damage profiles. Every weapon category is broken up into different archetypes ranging from 3 to 6 different groups. Every weapon category is broken up to these different archetypes some way or another: rapid, lightweight, stable, balanced, marksman, powerful, and precise. As characterized by the names of the different archetypes, each of them will have values that match their assigned purpose for the sake of balance and lore. While some archetypes are easy to distinguish with rate of fire and damage, some archetypes feature the same rate of fire while differentiating themselves by other means. An example of this is the balanced and precise auto rifle archetype. While a balanced and a precise archetype might be very similar for the most part, the precise archetype serves itself as being more of a defensive, long-range type weapon, boosting a higher than average range stat while slightly sacrificing effectiveness from other values such as aim down sight speed. The point being, each weapon in Destiny will be unique in terms of their stats one way or another, but their statistical values will fall between the range of its matching archetype. With Destiny effectively wiping out your arsenal of disaster through various expansions and challenges, the need for weapons with up-to-date attack stat is required for you to progress in Power Matters type activities. Recognizing the archetype of choice is a great way to rebuild your arsenal based on your preferred weaponry. Another purpose of recognizing archetypes is figuring out a weapon's time to kill. While the user interface gives us a lot of information regarding how the weapon handles, they only serve as a means for you to easily recognize a weapon's characteristics as opposed to core statistics for you to compare. Essentially, the rate of fire and impact doesn't necessarily reflect their actual stats. While the white bars might suggest that the Matador has double the rate of fire of the Felwinter's Lie, their difference in rate of fire is actually only about 12%. To find out the exact time it takes for a primary weapon to take down a target from the moment the first bullet hits, we need to have some actual RPM numbers. Rounds per minute serves as the global measurement for rate of fire, and can also be used to figure out a weapon's time to kill. And how do we get a hold of these RPM numbers? Through weapon archetypes. In the alpha build of Destiny, the user interface featured actual RPM numbers, which at the time were placeholders for the temporarily unfinished UI. While people have been hesitant to trust numbers from such an early build of the game, the RPM numbers matching that of the alpha build has shown up in various official guides, as well as being tested numerous times frame by frame in-game by yours truly. In short, I can reassure you these numbers are reliable and accurate. Essentially, finding out the time to kill on a weapon archetype gives us the time to kill of all weapons in Destiny belonging to that archetype. Following the future expansions, we only need to compare the newer weapons to older weaponry to find out which archetype they belong to, and we'll know their time to kill. So how do we find out the time to kill? The formula we use to find out time to kill using RPM is 60 divided by the rate of fire of the gun times bullets to kill minus 1. The reason why the -1 is in there is because the first bullet is always instant and is therefore not affected by the delay between each shot. Let's take Monte Carlo as an example. The Monte Carlo fires 600 RPM and is part of the stable archetype. The stable archetype takes usually 10 bullets to kill on the head, which means 60 divided by 600 times 10 bullets to kill minus 1, which equals 0.90 seconds. If we'd like to find out the statistics of some of the newer weapons in the Taken expansion, all we need to do is to compare the matching archetype. This is where the user interface comes into play. While it doesn't provide us with actual stats, it can be used in such a way for us to find out just that. If we look up the Monte Carlo and some of the newer auto rifles on the Destiny database, we can tell that the Suros ARI-41 have the same stats as the Monte Carlo, them being 88 rate of fire stat and an impact of 8. Because of the information we've already gathered on the Monte Carlo, we already know the time to kill the weapon without ever picking it up. While this is a more simplified version of what I go through when determining weapon stats for a spreadsheet, this brings you a basic understanding of gathering weapon data and how you can easily determine a weapon's time to kill in the Crucible by only a quick look at the weapon's in-game stat screen. While this solution works for just about every weapon in Destiny, as you all know there are the wildcards in Destiny known as exotics, as well as some unique legendary weapons that breaks the balance of the weapon archetypes, with some strengths that stretch the boundaries of their perceived archetype. Point being, there are some exceptions. While they are few, they are very important to make note of. Archetypes serves a great purpose for theory crafting in Destiny, though their main purpose serves as Bungie being able to tune weapons accordingly through balance changes. With hundreds of different weapons being added by each expansion, the need for balancing each weapon would be incredibly tedious as opposed to just tuning the weapon archetypes they are connected to. This is the same reason why the Necrochasm never got a damage buff. After the release of the Dark Below, a lot of people suggested something along the lines of buffing the damage of the gun. The thing about Necrochasm was, despite it being a raid exotic, it was actually part of a weapon archetype as opposed to the Mythoclast being a unique weapon altogether. For the Necrochasm to be changed at its core, the archetype as a whole had to be changed, which required a bigger balance change that Bungie did not have time for at the time. If you'd like a further look at weapon stats in Destiny, I have a spreadsheet covering the time to kill on all the legendary and exotic weapons in Destiny linked below. Keep in mind that it is a live Google spreadsheet, meaning all the changes I make will be real time following updates to the game. That concludes this video. I hope this answered some questions regarding the more in-depth side of mechanics inside of Destiny. I'd love to cover a lot more of this side of Destiny as it has been largely absent from being in the spotlight up to this point in time, save for a couple brilliant people out there. A lot of people play PvE in this game and haven't been too happy about my articles and spreadsheets mainly being centered around PvP. To make up for this, I'd like to do videos covering weapon DPS in Destiny and what you can do to maximize your damage potential against minions of the darkness. But as I said, that's another video entirely and we are running out of time. Thank you for watching my video, as well as the Destiny subreddit being amazing. Seriously, you guys have given me a lot of Reddit gold. Thank you.